You're tuned in to the Foxboro BeatCast, a podcast for Patriots fans by Patriots fans. And here are your hosts, is Kaleb McChesney and Ryan Moore.
Hello. I'm a little surprised here. I don't know what to do now. This is the Foxboro BeatCast, everybody. It is Wednesday, January 15th. I'm a little caught off guard. I have finally the thumbnail has finally presented what truly happened on the podcast today. We have my co-host back again as usual. I'm Kaleb McChesney. That's my co-host Ryan Moore. Ryan, I meant to go back and check when was the last time that what was the last game you remember? Where were we when?
I think it was Cardinals week. I think
after the bye week.
Yeah, it was Cardinals week. I'm pretty sure. So it's been a minute. A lot of things have happened. A couple of calamities I've heard. I don't know.
No, yeah, seriously, it was a series of calamitous events.
Yeah.
Was it after the Chargers game or before, or was it before the Cardinals game or after the Cardinals game?
It was after Cardinals game. Because I went to Canada for the week and then I got really sick around New Year's, which
you get that in noro virus yet or whatever that is. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've heard about that. Mine was just all in my throat, dude. I could barely speak.
Let me see. The last episode I had you on was with Football Guy.
So that was bye week. That was heading into Cardinals week.
Yeah, that was bye week. Yeah, so that was heading into the Cardinals game.
By the way, I remember asking a question during that episode, and I think it's ringing more and more true as the days go on.
Did I not answer
Kyler
it?
Murray, not a great quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
He's just
talented. Kyler Murray definitely might be it might have hit his peak.
Oh.
Might have hit his peak.
Hey, your Phoenix Suns just made a trade.
News to me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okogie is gone.
I don't. Ooh, 3 seconds. Ooh.
I like Nick Richards, by the way. That's a good ad. That's a good big.
I know for sure. He's a guy that can stand it. He's a different kind of center than what we have on the roster. This guy can jump and dunk, and sometimes that's all you need from your big man. We're totally bearing the lead on this, aren't we?
Yeah.
Ryan, I'm gonna give you a minute to apologize to the people at home for your absence. I'll give you 30 seconds.
I'm sorry my immune system fell apart and I went back to my motherland. That's all I got. I'm sorry I avoided the calamity and raging at Gerard Mayo, which would have been entertaining. But yeah, I'm back. And now it's time to gas up the new king of New England.
I think there's one person in particular you have to apologize to.
Oh, I'm sorry, Caleb's Nana.
There we go. Okay. So, Ryan, I just want to catch you up on the things that happened since you've been gone. Okay? First things first, obviously, the Cardinals game. I don't know if you caught that. We came out of the bye and we got smoked. It was bad. Couple of garbage time touchdowns, but it was
I watched every game, man. It was
a pretty bad performance. And then you go to Buffalo, you play it close. You're like, okay, this could be a turning point. You could close the season with some serious momentum. And then is it right before or right after Christmas? We got absolutely crushed by the Los Angeles Chargers at home.
It was right after Christmas. And what was crazy was that morning, it came out for me and Rappaport. He's like, hey, so Gerard Mayo is not getting fired, but if there's a calamity in his words, things are going to change. And that Chargers game,
absolute calamity between.
Oh my God.
We're going to start Gibson and bench Ramondre out there on the first snap, to Jelani Tavai telling fans to know their roles and shut their mouth like he's Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah, Dietrich Weiss telling the fans they're all spoiled for booing.
Did Dietrich Weiss say that?
Yeah, he did.
I totally missed that. I thought Tavai said everything. Okay.
He came out and he was like, yeah, Patriots fans, they've seen a lot of success, but they're spoiled, so they shouldn't be booing us and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dude, they're used to having five. We're not even asking for 5-star cuisine. We're just asking you not to fucking shit on a plate.
Right now, I feel like the Patriots are like that meme where it says upgrade and then go back and then go back.
Yeah. But no, that Chargers game I think might actually be the worst game in the post Brady era.
Ooh,
Like
that's a good question. That's a good offseason question, ranking the worst games
the Bears
since Tom
calamity.
Brady left. Yeah, we can call it the Gerard Mayo tiers.
Yeah.
Because probably about
Scales
6
of calamities. The Buffalo playoff game was a calamity.
That was rough.
I'm just sitting there watching. I'm like, damn, we're not even gonna offer any resistance. Okay, shit.
And then obviously you go into the last game of the year against Buffalo. It's going to be pretty clear that nobody's going to really be trying to win this game.
Except for Joe Milton.
Just before the game, Schefter on the ESPN pre-show said, "Yeah, I'm leaning out on Gerard Mayo. I don't think he's going to come back." And then obviously we go out, we beat the Bills, which I'm always good for a beating the Bills, even as fluky as that one was. And we'll get into the ramifications of what came from that, whether that's something to freak out about, if it's a big deal. I'm sure we'll get into that as we wrap up 2024 in our second block, because we're seriously burying the lead here. So let me just get to the point. Patriots win by like a touchdown. It's like 23-16 or something or other. And not 90 minutes after Gerard Mayo's press conference, Schefter bomb drops that Gerard Mayo is fired. Robert Kraft puts out his press release that he surely typed up as soon as the game was over. Definitely not a moment sooner. And that was sarcasm for people who don't know us. And yeah, Gerard Mayo was fired. And obviously the last week has happened where we go through our search. We interviewed Byron Leftwich and Pep Hamilton first and foremost, and we won't get into why that's not particularly interesting. As Vrabel said in his press conference, that's interesting. I don't know if that's important. That was neither interesting nor important. We did a Zoom interview with Ben Johnson, but not before we interviewed Mike Vrabel in person in Boston. And I think you got sick right around the time where we would have started talking about potential next head coaches. So we didn't really get to give into our thoughts of, Ben Johnson or Mike Vrabel. Like, I had a lot of those discussions with Elcio while you were on the IR. And yeah, so there's no point for that debate anymore, I guess. Mike Vrabel is your guy. He was hired on Sunday morning before the games. That it came out and it was official and all that. And then he has press conference on Monday. And that's where we are. Mike Vrabel is the head coach. He's done his rounds with the local media. I've taken some notes. I've watched some interviews. I'm sure that you have as well.
I watched the WEI one. I watched his full presser.
That was good. So. That was the WEI one was pretty good. Although Wiggy could not stop touching Mike Vrabel to save his life. But yeah, first things first, Ryan. I'll just kick it off to you. What is your initial reactions and thoughts, and lay it all out there for the fine people home.
Well, for starters, I mean the final two candidates were the top two guys that should have been all along. They're the two best coaches in the cycle, and all in all, they're my 1A, 1B. Like people were, like a lot of people on Twitter were talking about like, oh my god, they hired Vrabel, it's a disaster. I'm like, what are we talking about here? This is a good coach, man.
It just took the Titans to the playoffs like 3 times.
Yeah, and not only
number one seed with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback.
Yeah, not only that, there's a lot of disingenuous critiques of Mike Vrabel. I felt like, he's a run-first coach. Yeah, he is the greatest running back of our generation right now. Like, at the past 10 years, 10, 15 years, it's been Derrick Henry's NFL. So yeah, no shit, he's going to ride that horse. I'd ride that horse, too. Look at the fucking Ravens.
No, they certainly did.
Yeah. They were smart to like, oh, hey, this Derrick Henry guy's actually good at football. Hey, maybe we should add him. Crazy thought. No, your quarterback's Ryan Tannehill. Your running back's an all-time great. Guess what offense you're going to run around? So, yeah, people are disingenuously talking about, oh, he's going to be run-centric. No, I think he just plays to his offensive strengths, which is what the New England Patriots under the Brady Belichick era, McDaniels, O'Brien, that was their expertise. That is what they always utilized.
Use the run to set up the pass.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They're gonna work around the offensive strengths. All right, we have a Lamborghini at quarterback. We're gonna probably throw the ball a lot more than Tennessee did. You know, and not only that, but I think his results kind of, people were talking about, well, his results tanked at the end of Tennessee. Did they tank, or did the front office kind of sandbag his personnel?
A little bit.
Yeah, he didn't have those teams weren't great, and it was clear there was conflicts. And you look at like the AJ Brown trade, that was just, he didn't want that to happen. Robinson did it anyway. Him and Ryan Cowden, who we're going to talk about I guess later, were adamant on not doing it, and they replaced AJ Brown with a bum in Traylon Burks. Let's call a spade a spade. Traylon Burks been a bust.
Did you like Burks coming out of college? I certainly did.
I liked him. And I thought he was going to be kind of like a big body Debo Samuel. I mean, technically he is. I mean, current Debo. But
Debo after about 1,000 miles on the engine.
Yeah. Debo when he's running Drewski routes. So I was thrilled. I think he's going to bring what the New England Patriots need. Not what they want to hear. It's what they need. And that's discipline. It's culture. I know people were bitching about that word. Culture is a good thing. Do you want a shitty culture? Do you want to be known as the Jaguars of the North? Where people are
we were riding awfully close to that blip in the sun.
Like, hey, we have 130 million cap space. Let's just pay players to come here and not give a shit. That's what it would have been if we kept Gerard Mayo. Like,
and you need to pay them a lot to play for Gerard Mayo after the crapshoot that last year was.
Like T. Higgins would have probably been commanding like 45 million to come here. Yeah, it's just the truth of the matter is like the culture in New England where players are coming out and attacking fans and thinking that's okay after you just got blown out. That's a bad culture. The fact that players are routinely showing up late or just not caring at all, from what I've read, and then the coaches just don't seem to really know how to properly discipline their players. Like you got Gerard Mayo talking out his ass before the Chargers game, saying, "Hey, I'm gonna bench Ramondre."
And communicated to nobody. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't communicate to Antonio. Get that when I've heard Antonio Gibson's quote after the game, that's someone like, yeah, you need to fire this coach. That's making an ass out of yourself to everybody. That you're not even communicating to the player that you were supposed to start that, hey, we're gonna go out on national TV, we're gonna say we're benching Ramondre for you, get ready. And then we do neither.
No, that Chargers game was really like it was. I jumped off the ship a little later than you did. I think you said I'm out a little before that.
Well, because I saw a lot of worrisome trends with the team, right? Where I'm like, what's our?
No, it certainly never looked quite right, and I was giving the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, only 1 year for a coach, a first timer, he's still figuring it out. I get it. Shortly after that, it's like as soon as that Buffalo game was over, and then we were prepping for the Chargers, and like everything just like I couldn't ignore it anymore. I couldn't give the benefit of the doubt anymore.
That was the calamity, man. Like, and you know what? And I think this amplified it even further. If I'm Robert Kraft in that press box, and I see Ladd McConkey, a guy who you passed up on, for Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, have more yards in one game against your team than both of those guys.
Either of them have had all season combined. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we'll talk about it a little later. I don't think those are bad players. I don't think Jalen Polk's a bad player yet.
Oof.
I think not yet. I think his mentality's fucked. I think Javon Baker's mentality's fucked. And it's fucked because they had bad coaching.
No, their mentality is definitely screwed thanks to the bad coaching, but I don't know if Jalen Polk's any good.
We'll see. I want to give him at least a year of redemption.
Well, I mean, there's no point in just like cutting bait now unless he's like a total dink. But
yeah, I don't know. I want to give him a chance, but like the eval on him coming out of Washington was like he was supposed to be Jacoby Myers or Robert Woods, and he wasn't.
Wasn't even rookie Jacoby Myers.
Yeah. He wasn't even N'Keal Harry.
And Brady
Aaron
hated
Dobson
N'Keal
and
Harry.
N'Keal Harry. Like Dobson and Harry objectively had better rookie years than this guy.
Dobson had some games.
That Steelers game, man, he was.
Yeah, that was just what I was
Brady
thinking
looked like Brady the Moss for a sec.
But you were mentioning the criticisms against Vrabel from people. My favorite one, and by my favorite, I mean like the one that I love to attack the most. Oh, it's the same old crap doing what's familiar, the old Patriot way. It's an extension of the guard. Do these people not understand that Vrabel never coached under Bill?
Dude,
Vrabel has
Vrabel
coached in many, many places. Like he started off Urban Meyer's linebacker coach, and then he went to Bill O'Brien's Texans team,
Hey, who
and he
cares
was
where
the
Bill
defensive
O'Brien had his
coordinator,
ties?
Titans head coach, and he was an offensive assistant in Cleveland, an offensive assistant working with offensive line, which just happens to be our biggest need right now. Like if you were going to power rank it,
Yeah.
He's so he's got Bill like things about him. Like he's such a dork about the rules and stuff, looking for an edge on other teams. Like this is gonna sound really weird out of context, thanks to 2024 vocabulary, internet brain rot. But on that Brady documentary, the Man in the Arena from ESPN Plus, I'm sure you watched it.
Oh, dude, it was the Patriot episode.
The episode where they had the Vrabel on. Do you remember what he was a member, like what they called like that sect of Brady, Vrabel, McGinnis? They were edgers. See?
Yeah.
They're getting the edge on things, and Vrabel has always done that. Think back to that 2019 playoff game where like he uses Bill's own trick against him and essentially ices the game off of that. And like Vrabel, there's so many different more examples of that with him. If you go watch those Tennessee games, I don't think that this is an extension of the old guard at all. Like, sure, he's a familiar name, a familiar face as a player, but as a coach, he never once touched this building, and that's different than the Matt Patricia, the Josh McDaniels, the Gerard Mayo. All they knew was Belichick.
Yeah. No.
So I just think that if anything's a lazy take, it's that one.
Dude, okay. To put things into perspective, before he got inducted to the Patriots Hall of Fame last year, or in 2023, I guess, so 2 years ago at this point.
That's probably the moment he got fired by Tennessee, by the way.
Yeah, no, it was. That was actually like the moment him and the owner there had their breaking point. To put things into perspective, before that introduction, he hadn't been a part of the Patriots organization since first term Barack Obama. He got traded in 2009. Right?
2009.
Him and Matt Castle are part of the same trade to the Kansas City Chiefs. So
2009, think about that.
Yeah, 16 years ago now. Yeah, 16 years. Holy shit.
Anyways.
Okay, then fuck. Okay, that pissed me off now.
Kevin Rudolph was a big thing back in 2009.
But yeah, no, to put that into perspective, dude, that was the last time Vrabel had been a part of the Patriots org. So it's been a long time, man. Like, this isn't promoting from within, or like Mike was like playing here like 4 years ago. Like it wouldn't be like we just like hired like Devin McCourty to be our coach or whatever, or something like that, or James White or whoever the fuck, you know what I mean?
And again, plenty of experience with Mike Vrabel. Like the resume, he probably had the top resume of all the candidates. Yeah. Like just as far as achievements and accolades and things he's done, players he's developed. Sure, what Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn are doing in Detroit is nothing short of impressive. Aaron Glenn, by the way, rejecting an interview because he knew that Vrabel was our dude. He's apparently wants to go to the Jets. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
First person ever admit that.
Seriously.
Him and Rex Ryan.
And Rodgers.
Yeah, Rodgers. And Devontae Adams. Only for like Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams get kicked out like in the same year.
Seriously. No, I just think that take couldn't be any further from the truth. And this is not foreign. It's definitely a little more comforting than like a Ben Johnson, like because it is a familiar name and familiar face. But everything he's done to earn a spot at this job was done out of this building, which is what was necessary. Do you have any other initial reactions, or can we get to the next question?
Well, I mean, what I'm going to bring up was probably next up anyway.
Okay, what I wanted to ask was, what do we think he brings to the table as the head coach? What does Vrabel bring to the table here in 2025?
He'll bring a bit of a throwback style of football with modern elements.
Okay, explain.
You're going to see some power involved, like power running, power oriented, linemen, like trench warfare type football with blended elements of like, hey, we got like Drake May as our quarterback. Hey, we're gonna use modernistic scheme. It'll be kind of similar actually to what the Rams have been recently running, I think, with McVay, where McVay, well, he started out, he's first known as like this, like, zone run, wide zone, like kind of like what like Mike McDaniel, Kyle Shanahan do, like this West Coast type shit, right? And then over time, he's actually evolved into like a power type offense where they use like the slots and stuff, but they use modern elements and RPOs and all that shit to blend into the offense, right? That will be his type of scheme. And worry not, Patriots, because the worst part of the team is going to get fixed. He's going to really dive into the trenches. Which is what
Listen, I think that experience he got in Cleveland is valuable. Not only for the fact that he worked with offensive linemen, which is our number one biggest need. I think that's just like cherry on top of this giant cake that is Mike Vrabel. Cleveland also one of the most innovative and adaptive organizations in the league as it pertains to analytics.
Yeah, he talked about it. He learned a lot about like analytics, and like one thing I really love that he brought up on the WEI thing was like bringing up GPS speeds and stuff like that. Like, okay, how often can we get a player to really run at their top speed? Well, it's not that often, but how often can we get a player to run at like 18 miles per hour, or like, a high speed that is attainable? And in other words, they're going to look at game speed. We're not going to give like, and this is what I'll bring up the Rams again, because someone brought it up about how the Rams started evaluating and with their scouting. Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, and Cameron Kitchens were three players that were brought up. All three of those guys had just terrible combines.
Not particularly fast guys in the sense of gonna outrun you.
Yeah, they all ran in like the 4.6s, I'm pretty sure. But watch them play on the field. Does Puka Nacua look like a 4.6 receiver to you?
No.
Does Kyron Williams look like a 4.6 running back to you?
Absolutely not. No.
And Cam Kitchens, who I think is going to be a stud player, and he's the lesser known of the three, obviously. He doesn't play like a 4.6 player on the field. And it's because the Rams use GPS tracking. So they look at guys and they look at like how often they reach attainable speeds. And are their game speeds better than their testing speeds? And that's what Vrabel's going to bring to the Patriots.
Which sounds like a foreign concept, seeing as how we drafted Tyquan Thornton.
Yeah. Well, because they were looking at raw numbers and like, well, he runs a 4.3 and blah, 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 blah.
If you want to have fast players, you got to draft fast players, and nobody's faster than Tyquan.
Yeah. Game speed is different than track speed. Put the pads on. Let's see how these guys run. And I think we're going to get some good quality players because of that now.
For sure. I think Vrabel brings a lot of brain with his brawn. Like he's not a
meathead.
It's a perfect combination for sure. You want to have a guy like Dan Campbell who can, lead a room and be personable and talk to players and relate to them. And Vrabel has that. He certainly has it as a former player. I mean, you listen to Taylor Lewan talk about him in that one clip, which was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, Taylor Lewan's quite the character, man.
Seriously. I love that podcast. Like when they have good guests on, I wouldn't listen to it otherwise, but like they had Nickelback on there once, and I'm like, this is like heaven on earth.
Also, with the boys had a Nickelback on?
Yeah.
Man.
Dude, it was a fun interview. I'll send you the link.
Even the episode with Vrabel was funny.
No, yeah, that's where he said the infamous line. He'd cut his dick off to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the Patriots have a knife somewhere waiting for when that happens.
Yeah.
But he's funny.
Been married 20 years.
He's funny. He can stand in front of a room and relate to players on a level that Belichick couldn't.
Yeah.
He's also got a brain for football, a brain for analytics, a mind for football. Belichick said himself, this is the most coach-like player I've ever coached. And Belichick's been around some smart dudes.
Yeah.
So I really love what Vrabel brings to the table. I feel like he's the complete package.
Well, it's funny. You bring it up, right? About most coach-like player. I saw a clip from when Bill O'Brien was on Games with Names with Edelman.
Oh, I remember that episode.
And he was talking about like Vrabel would just anytime they needed like a scout team, whatever. He would play like the scout team safety, and you start blitzing at Tom, and Tom's like, they don't do that. And then Vrabel goes, it's fucking Polamalu. Of course they do that. And, oh my god, dude! Like, I need to hear more Brady Vrabel practice stories because I know those two like just could not like they love each other, but they just couldn't be in the same room with each other without like bickering all the time.
No, seriously, yeah. I mean, you watch those old like America's games, and it's always Vrabel like just tweaking Tom. If you read the Seth Wickersham book that came out a little after Brady had left for Tampa, there's a lot of good stuff in there about Vrabel.
Is there?
Oh yeah, the Dynasty book.
Did the janitors give out good sources on that one?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Seth Wickersham, also one of the nicest guys I've ever talked to.
Okay, I just like busting his balls because of the whole Brady drama and shit like that.
It turned out to be right.
Some of it, yeah, I'll give him heartbreaking. No, I'm kidding.
So yeah, I think Vrabel brings together a total complete package as it pertains to what you want in a football coach between brain, rah-rah, culture, and edge.
You know, one last thing I'll bring about Vrabel, and it relates to a lot of those. He's not gonna blow smoke up your ass and sell you a fucking dream. He's not a used car salesman.
I think his press conference was very evident of that.
Yeah. He calls a spade. I love it because he'll call a spade. And I like coaches like that. Don't mince words. I don't want to hear coach speak. I don't want to hear you fumble around or beat around the bush with some shit, right? Come out and just talk your shit or whatever. Like, don't do it to like a reckless degree or like you're like giving bulletin board material, obviously. But like, if something's not right, call it out. And that's what he's going to do in that room. And they need that, man.
So some of the things that I pulled from watching the interviews and watching his presser, some of the things I noticed was the word galvanize. He wants to galvanize the franchise. He wants to listen with the intent to understand, not the intent to respond. Some of his schemes, he wants player-focused schemes, as you mentioned earlier, aggressive but not reckless, not asking players to do things they can't execute. Be good enough to take advantage of bad football. I love that. Like, that's the first step. There were so many games last year where we could have 7 wins if we had the coaching to take advantage of bad football. We just didn't have it. We just didn't have that football IQ. Vrabel certainly has that football IQ to take advantage of somebody's off day. And then the in-game adjustments, which we were pelting Mayo for all of last year. Why are you not adjusting your game plan? Why aren't you giving us a plan B, a plan C? Vrabel's going to do that. And then I think maybe the biggest quote that he has was just ridding the Patriots franchise of entitlement.
That's where
Whether that's in players, in coaches, in front office. I know you had an interesting takeaway from that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So when I heard that, I'm like, fuck yes. Because as I said earlier in the show, right? You run the risk of becoming a joke of a team where players are only going to want to play for you if you throw money at them, and then they're not going to care, and they're going to come in. You draft them. They come out of college, and with the NIL and shit, now they're used to the money. They have agents. They have people in their ears telling them what they want to hear. They can transfer to wherever, and start at whatever school if they don't feel they earned, or if they not earn it, if they don't feel like they deserve the opportunity or whatever, or have deserved the opportunity at their current school. And so players are coming in more and more entitled in the NFL. And it's definitely a more interesting thing. Like, that's more college sports related. We can go further into that. But you got to beat the entitlement out of these guys a little bit and kind of humble them. Because what I saw from the majority of the Patriots draft class, especially the two receivers, yes, I will single them out, Jalen Polk and Javon Baker. They came in entitled. And not only that, but veterans started to feel entitled. Dynasty era veterans, like Dietrich Wise, I brought him up.
Never would have thought in a million years that Dietrich Wise would be a guy who said that.
This is a guy who's
team
been
captain
on deep playoff runs and Super Bowl. Like, he won a Super Bowl with the team. And he's
team
out here.
captain.
Yeah. Shit talking the fans. Jelani Tavai shit talking the fans. And I'm sure there were probably a few other players that hold that sentiment, and a few players that just kind of don't really give a fuck. Like, they're there for the paycheck.
Well, let's look let's look at some of the other things too. Chuks Okorafor quitting on the team.
Yep.
Number one. Number two, Jabril Peppers off-field issue.
Yeah,
not a sense of entitlement, but that's a lack of discipline at the very least. A lack of just awareness of who you are and who you represent.
Yeah, that I wouldn't. If that reoccurred with the Patriots, like this iteration of the Patriots, then I'd be like, that maybe is like a player character evaluation issue. But yeah, no, that I'll push back a little on that one. I don't know if I would necessarily single out Jabril Peppers and be like, well, that's a negative of the Patriots culture.
I think it certainly could be.
It could. Like I said, if it's reoccurring.
That's why I'm throwing it out there. Players. Jabril Peppers is a captain. The team depends on him heavily. And then something like he puts himself in a situation where something like that happens. It feels like a lack of awareness.
Awareness and maturity. I agree. No, I agree. Peppers isn't getting
Mike Onwenu, was that him riding a bike through the locker room earlier this year?
Yeah,
that shit's not happening with Vrabel.
That's just goofy as fuck. Yeah, no, there's too much goofiness in the organization, man. Like, it's basically like fucking summer camp for the guys. Like, hey, let's just collect our paychecks and we'll play our game. We're not going to play up to our potential. Gerard's got us. We're just going to be chill and have fun, and it's vibes and whatever the fuck. And no, it's the NFL. It's a professional league. Lives and jobs are on the line. People are paying money to go see you play.
I did.
Yeah, I did too, and I saw one of their few wins.
I saw their best loss. The Rams game.
Yeah, it's fun stuff.
It was that was the last nice day in New England too. It was like 60 in mid-November. I'm like, oh.
And then everything fell apart, dude. The northern hemisphere right now is getting crushed.
Frozen. I'm frozen up here.
Dude, it's freezing here in the Midwest, man.
No,
I saw a couple days when I was gonna be -2.
It's like a solid 11 degrees just right across the Mason-Dixon line north.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
It's terrible.
Getting any good snow yet?
Oh, dude, we got a ton.
Oh, really?
We've been getting nothing but snow lately. But yeah, no. This isn't vacation. This isn't, Vrabel actually said it quite well. I think it was in the WEI interview. He's like, average players just want to go in, they want to get their free meals, come in, clock out, like get paid, whatever, right? Good players want to get coached. Great players want to get told the truth. And I thought, you look at like the great players of the Patriots era, right?
Don't have any.
All those guys were the most coachable guys on the team, and all those guys were often the recipients of Belichick's, criticisms. Like Brady took a brunt of shit from Bill a lot, man. Fucking Foxboro high this, Foxboro high that, fucking,
Johnny fucking Foxboro could complete that 5-yard out the Welker.
Yeah, but Brady liked it, and that's what differentiates like Brady from a lot of guys, right? Or like Edelman or Gronk.
It took Brady 6 Super Bowls to say, "Hey, old man, shut the fuck up."
Yeah, yeah. But even then, Brady brought that culture to Tampa, dude. So it's still instilled in him a bit. Like he still had that drive in him. But like we're gonna truly find out who in this core wants to become great. And the first guy I look at is Drake May, the leader. You know why? Because he was one of the. And there's gonna be another guy too I'll bring up, and he was very vocal at the end of the season. Drake is one of those guys that could take the coaching. He wants to be coached. He wants to be told the truth. He's wired that way.
Do you put anything into him not being around when Vrabel was announced?
I don't give a shit. That whole drama is so fucking stupid. Can Patriots fans and the fucking local media just knock it off for a day?
It's mostly local media. Patriots fans are like, we don't care. I would have liked it.
Oh no, a guy after a really terrible season where he was one of the few lone bright spots. What the fuck?
I would have. I'll say this: I would have appreciated if he was there, but I'm not gonna ask him to fly from the Cayman Islands up.
I also think as well, though, like he probably planned this months ahead. Like
no, for sure. I'm not gonna ask him to drop his vacation because he got a new boss.
Yeah,
I would have just.
And also the Patriots sped through this coaching process.
No, for sure. Who could have foresaw that?
But no,
and there's probably saw a chance that May also got told, "Hey, get the fuck out of here!" Like, come back when it's all said and done. But I personally I would have loved if he was there. I would have felt good. That doesn't mean I don't feel good now.
Yeah, no,
I would have felt better.
It would have been nice, but like making drama out of it's just dumb. With that being said, the next player I want to bring up that I think truly wants to be great and loves that type of coaching, and he was very vocal, and that was another sign the culture was deteriorating rapidly in New England. Keon White.
Oh, yeah, one of the more vocal guys.
He started out the season red hot. He was looking super promising, and then everything fell off a cliff. And he said out loud, like, I liked the way Belichick coached me. I like being coached hard. I think Vrabel is going to love this guy. And I wouldn't be shocked if we see a Keon White breakout year next year. Because Vrabel's going to tell him the truth, and Keon White's going to respond to that. And I think we're going to see a player that has all the potential in the world to be a disruptive edge rusher and, be a big part in stabilizing the trenches again. I'm excited to see it. And once again, we'll talk about like in the recap of the year later, but like him like ripping on the coaches.
That was eye opening.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about who are like the 3 players that we really, really love here in a minute here. But do you, before we get to that point, we talk about some of the things that could happen going in. I have a list of guys maybe we want to talk to as far as coordinators and whatnot. Do you have like any criticisms or concerns? Maybe not of Vrabel necessarily. If you have criticisms or concerns about Vrabel, we can talk about that. or the process of how we got here? Do you have anything really that waves like even a beige flag? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I will say I didn't love how they handled the process. I do think you should have casted a more of a wide open net than they did. And I mean that as in like, okay, have Vrabel as your favorite, right? But also interview more. Don't want your cards were way, you showed your cards in your hand way too quickly. Everyone knew who you were going to hire, which that itself is a beige flag, maybe a red flag if it wasn't a coach of the caliber of Vrabel. Um, Two, make Vrabel have to earn it out rather than kind of,
Giving him
saying,
a
well,
leverage, yeah.
yeah, like don't make it look a bit shamish that Aaron Glenn's just like, no, no, I'm good. I don't want to interview here. You didn't even like try to interview like Liam Cohen or I don't know, like any of like the coordinators around the league on like playoff teams or something like that. You really wanted to get this done fast.
It's like I understand identifying your guy for sure, and just being so sure about it. And on some level, I respect it. On the other hand, it's like, really, you're gonna put Byron Leftwich and Pep Hamilton through that?
Yeah, that was a bad look. That wasn't the
It
best look.
is, and it definitely showcases a lot of the weird things about the Rooney Rule, where it's great in theory, but in practice, some things just don't line up. Some things get weird because
Well, because
sports isn't like private industry. Okay, like if you and me apply for a job, we get put into just like a list of resumes. In sports, it's so public, and you know who everybody is. It's so connected. Like the networks are all tying together. It's hard not to just identify your guy. While in
right,
private industry, you don't really know who you're getting until you interview them. You
right,
know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. No, I agree with that.
So
I
I understand why it was so quick and why they felt like it had to be so quick and why they did it the way they did. Especially because we were all reeling from last year. I say last year like it was so long ago, like I just want to forget
It's
it.
like 2 weeks ago.
um, so I understand it to a level. It just I wish there was a better, like a way where we could dodge and deflect some of the criticisms about what we did to get here.
Yeah, just a better process, I think. Is I think what we
Um,
would have wanted.
Concerns about Vrabel.
I don't have
I think
any.
I think the number one main thing is the emphasis on shared vision and shared organizational vision. Like I'm sorry, I'm a little skeptical of Elliot Wolf right now. He's suspect.
I am
And sure, Schefter goes on Pat McAfee show. Vrabes is the man. Everybody answers to Vrabel. Vrabel is the top of the food chain, and I will entrust that. But you tell me if you don't feel a little weird about Elliot Wolf right now.
no, I'm not the most confident Wolf. With that being said, there was a benefit of the doubt thing they brought up, or they're like, okay, he didn't have his draft grading system, or blah 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 blah. I'm like,
Yeah, with
okay.
more time, we'll reap more fruit of that labor with his new grading system. Which
So I want to see
didn't
it.
Vrabel go a little? Did he go in depth on what that looks like? Did somebody go in depth on what that looks like?
No,
I thought I heard something along the line. Maybe they were just talking about how Bill used to do it.
that would be my guess. I don't know. I don't know if they'd leak that out because like then teams are gonna be like, well, they're gonna eye like this prospect or that prospect or whatever. We can hold them by the balls on this or whatever, right? Like
Yeah,
who
right.
fits this profile? Like I wouldn't air that out yet. So yeah,
I just
no.
thought I had heard.
I will say if I do have a beige flag about Vrabel is just how it ended in Tennessee.
Right.
There was conflicts with management and conflicts with ownership. And I do wonder how Kraft is going to respond to a personality like Mike Vrabel in the long term. Like, will there be conflict? Will Vrabel eventually kind of, how often will Vrabel get his way? And I know he's the man right now, but you know what I mean, right? Like,
When
because
push
there were
comes to shove,
organizations.
who's got the final
Yeah.
say? Yeah.
Will it be Vrabel and Cowden who eventually win out, or will Kraft and like Team Kraft and Wolf and whoever the fuck went out? You know, I mean, Robin Glazer is a name that gets brought up all the time. I don't even. They talk
Jonathan
about
Kraft, Robin
Robin Glazer.
Glazer. Like, you get the impression?
Yeah. Belichick talks about Robin Glazer like fucking people on the right talk about George Soros. Like fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
I know, I do for sure because we're pathetic men, and it's easy to attack a woman
yeah.
in football
I
lives.
don't know anything about Robin Glazer like to that.
Nobody does.
For all I know, she could just be like Robert Kraft's like, like accountant or some shit. You know
Dude,
what I mean?
Robin Glazer could be the smartest badass we've ever
Yeah.
seen, and we just don't know.
Maybe Robin Glazer's got a vision that like nobody else understands. We don't know. Like, I don't know. I think it's weird. I think the fascination with Patriots fans of Robin Glazer is weird as fuck.
Because we're stupid men.
Yeah.
And everybody's still there is still a certain sect of the internet that thinks Belichick is right about everything. So, and
those people are nuts.
to Bill's credit, he said more nice things about Vrabel in the last week than he ever said about Gerard Mayo.
Yeah, to be fair, Vrabel wasn't actively like stabbing him in the back.
Oh, poor Mayo. Poor Mayo.
Let's not think Gerard's gonna bounce back. Like,
God, I hope so. Cause I feel bad.
I feel bad because I loved him as a player, but as a head coach, it just
He shouldn't have been thrown in that spot. Like, that's not.
no.
Again, Gerard Mayo's a big boy. He can make big boy decisions. He didn't have to take the job so soon.
He was
But he
getting
did.
good coaching interviews as well. Like Carolina, I think wanted him a couple years ago, right?
I think
Like,
was it a head coaching interview or a DC interview?
it was one of the two, and like it was gonna get like more responsibilities. Like teams were interested in him, and they would have been wrong all across the league.
What he should have done is what Vrabel did: leave, get experience, and then come back.
Yeah.
And I think Mayo, as if he gets that second chance, which it was so calamitous here, who knows? He might just go back into private industry. Like football might be dead to him.
Wouldn't blame him.
But yeah, and I think the biggest concern about Vrabel himself is his staffing. The way that he picks his coaches, how he picks his coaches, who he picks for his coaches. Obviously, things have come out in the last week that him and LaFleur didn't really get along in Tennessee. And Vrabel kind of backed his ass into Arthur Smith being competent because he promoted him just so LaFleur couldn't bring him over to Green Bay. I did hear that too. And then obviously the Todd Downing was a disaster.
Yeah.
Was the Jets OC last year. We want him to stay over there as long as he possibly can.
If he's our OC, that's a red flag. That will be a red flag.
That's a little problematic. But yeah, I think the staffing is a valid concern, and I wonder if he's learned anything from the year off. Maybe he's met with more capable people, like in Cleveland under the Stefanski tree, which I know that we liked. What was his name? Who just got
Tommy
promoted?
Rees.
Tommy Rees. Yeah, I would have been very interested in.
I've heard a lot of negative about him.
How so?
Alabama fans did not like his play calling whatsoever.
Oh, they didn't like Bill O'Brien either. Look what he's doing over in BC.
Yeah. Granted, I mean, like Tommy Rees also. Did he have Bryce Young or whatever? I don't know. He was bad.
No, that was
Notre
Bill
Dame,
O'Brien's year.
bad at Alabama.
2021 was O'Brien's year.
Yeah, I was trying to remember if he had Bryce Young or not. Anyway, the point stands. It's like I would have been tepid on Tommy Rees. I think the guy we're all inevitably leading towards is
that might as well just peel that off right now,
huh? Josh McDaniels V3.
And listen,
I'll take it.
Personally, I am a big Josh guy as an OC. I love Josh.
I used to not be, and then I realized how dark
how good we had it.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe you're not so bad. If this is my option, I guess I'll take it. Like the thing is about McDaniels, and we talk about like offensive coordinator continuity. Nobody's hiring this guy as a head coach for at least another decade.
Right. No, he's not leaving anytime soon. And while that is a plus in McDaniels' box, if you like somebody more than Josh McDaniels, being afraid that this guy is going to leave is not a reason to hire Josh McDaniels and not the other guy. Want to make that clear. Like, if you love, let me just pull a name out of a hat here. If you love, wow, I really wish that somebody had. I wish that whoever I copied and pasted this from had listed their position so I could just like pick a name. And is Luke Steckel an offensive coach? See, you don't even know.
I was gonna say, I would look at Josh McCown, another Josh McCown.
Okay, Josh McCown. If you like Josh McCown, and you're afraid, oh my God, he's going to be so good that he's going to leave us. That's not a reason to turn him down and hire Josh McDaniels just so he stays here. Just because he'll stay here. Like, if he gets hired, you hit a home run. And if he sucks, you fire him and you get the next guy. So, there's that.
I agree with that.
Now, who knows Josh McCown's acumen as far as, play calling, developing an offense. Like, we're going to have a top-notch guy who's coming in with his own playbook because Vrabel might have worked with offenses in Cleveland. I'm not quite sure how he is with the X's and O's of offense. Like, as far as, like, play design and concepts.
He's more a teacher. Like, develop, like, as in, like, fundamentals and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're gonna want if you're gonna want to be you're gonna want a guy who has his own offensive stuff, like that stuff, that binder. Vrabel's not gonna come up with that binder by himself, right. And he's not gonna be able to really to help a Josh McCown if he doesn't have one. Josh McDaniels has an established program in offense, and that's a plus in his mark as well.
Right.
So I look forward to that. As far as some other guys that were listed, this one, they actually listed some guys. Pat O'Hara, a QB coach and a pass game analyst. Wes Welker just became available from the Miami Dolphins.
Wouldn't shock me if he makes his way up north again.
Would love that because I think he's a hell of a coach. I think he was the sacrificial lamb to the Tyreek Hill stuff, truthfully.
Yeah.
Which was unfortunate for Wes. But he comes back up here, man. Hey, I'll thank Tyreek Hill for that. Other names, like I said, I need to go look and figure out who does what. But one note that I had written down: Vrabel had a lot of continuity with his coaching staff, and as you can see, a lot of them found employment with the laundry list of names that were listed. A couple of big names graduated to coordinators of head coaches under his tutelage as well. So
that'd be good. Yeah.
Any other names you like?
As far as like looking around football, a name I found interest in, and he did not want to come to Gerard Mayo's staff, but I could see him maybe want to come back to New England, is Nick Caley.
That could be interesting. My only concern is he hasn't worked with quarterbacks before.
Right, and that
like, I think that was Alex Van Pelt's biggest plus was he had quarterback experience, and like I genuinely just want like my OC to have worked with quarterbacks before.
No,
if I don't know anything about them,
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that for sure. I think that's a big plus to be able to be a QB coach and an offensive coordinator at the same time. Mostly because I think a lot of the times, like, the message can get maybe a little bit muddled if you're not, on the same sort of philosophical wavelength as your QB coach if you're the OC. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I would love, I think I really want Josh McDaniels as the guy again.
Oh, so you're actually like, I want Josh McDaniels.
Well, here's the thing. And I know you obviously said, like, well, like, you shouldn't pass on a guy for continuity reasons or, like, lack of continuity. I do think, though, that is very important to an extent. And I think Josh is more modernistic than people give him credit for. And I
No,
think
for
he's still
sure.
young.
Josh McDaniels is insanely disrespected.
Yeah, he's still young. He's only like 40. I think he's 48 now.
Dude,
48, 49.
if you just pulled that number out of your
He's a year older than Brady, so he's 48.
48.
You got an OC that will be here in his peak. He's got years and 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 years of experience, and he's only 48. And he's a good offensive mind. He's modernistic. I think I'm all aboard Josh McDaniels V3. He'll be here for the next decade plus. And it's continuity for Drake May. And I think he keeps up with the times quite well. The problem is with Josh McDaniels is he's not a head coach. He's the Steve Spagnuolo of OCs.
Some other names that I've seen as far as offensive coordinators. Clint Kubiak's available. I thought he was awesome.
First 2
Until the
weeks, he
injuries,
looked like the greatest OC ever. And then
until the injuries started piling up for him.
Derek Carr also happened.
Yeah, Derek Carr obviously not great in 2024, 2025. Mike LaFleur, the Rams OC, he was under Saleh before he got canned.
I think if Vrabel hated his brother Matt, I don't know if he.
I didn't even think of that. Nick Caley's obviously on the list. Josh McCown obviously on the list. Van Pelt coming back. I wouldn't be offended, but I'm like, you gotta develop those play calls.
Bad play caller. Good developer of quarterbacks, at least.
What do you think of Byron Leftwich?
No.
Was that really phone job worthy?
I dropped my phone for theatrics. I will not watch a Patriots game this year if Byron Leftwich is the offensive coordinator, because I will be wasting 17 weeks of my life watching the most mind-numbingly dog shit offensive concepts and schemes ever. That guy is terrible. You did that deliberately to set me off, didn't you?
No, I really asked.
I am anti Byron Leftwich, man. I watched that guy ruin Tom Brady's last fucking season with his terrible play call.
Well, Tom Brady sucked that year too.
Shut the fuck up. Don't turn me to the full Brady homer again.
Dude, it doesn't take much.
Yes.
But 2021 he was the OC, wasn't he?
Arians called the plays.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Arians was the primary play caller.
And then Brady wanted him out and hired Byron Leftwich.
I think it was kind of a little bit of Brady kind of just being like, Bruce, shut the fuck up. Byron will at least listen to me a little bit.
So it was Brady's play calls.
No, I think it was more so like, Bruce was too abrasive and Byron was.
Bruce was too abrasive. Booze or lose, win or lose, we booze. Bruce Arians.
Yeah.
Chad O'Shea is the name. He's familiar.
Not against it. But
Charles
I think
London
it's
is
McDaniels.
the QB coach. You got the most out of Gino. Brian Hartline, dude.
Dude, if they got Brian Hartline out of Ohio State, that would be a fucking steal.
You really like Brian Hartline?
Okay, he's not a quarterback coach, but Brian Hartline is the best developer of receivers in football right now.
Ohio State guy, maybe Vrabel can twist his arm a little.
It would depend, but Hartline's got. I will say this as someone who lives in Columbus, Hartline's got pretty deep ties to Ohio State and like the community here. It would take a lot to.
Yeah, he did play for Cleveland at the end of his career, didn't he?
Yeah, but like, yeah. I was gonna say, well, what was I gonna say about Butler? I was like, yeah, he had no ties to Vrabel because like that was like fucking 8 years ago and whatever. No, Hartline, it would take a whole lot to come out, but if we got him, I would tell you this, it would be the biggest get you could possibly.
You want to show the class what sweatshirt you're wearing right now?
No. Oh, well, okay. We just found out why Drake May went on this fucking Cabo trip.
Oh. Well, how do you feel now, Michael Felger?
Yeah. So Drake May.
Yeah,
just
I'm not
engaged.
blaming him even a little. Nope, not Not even. Shout out to Drake May on his engagement to his longtime girlfriend. Been together since the 7th grade. Good for them.
Hey, good. Yeah, that's awesome, man. So there you
Not
go.
everybody's Michael Felger who comes back to work the next day after his wedding.
Now, if Drake May is a real Patriot, he would have spoiled Mike Vrabel's press conference by popping the question there.
Can you imagine? Hey, babe, I want you to get up here.
Hold on, Mike. Mike, we got something more important than you.
Like, instead of Kraft giving Vrabel's wife the flowers or whatnot, like the press conference kicks off with Drake May doing that. As Mike Vrabel just like stands back and watches awkwardly.
If Mike's just like, do I clap? Like, he's fucking stealing my thunder.
Any other names that are worth mentioning?
No, not overly.
No. Anybody but Todd Downing and Byron Leftwich, apparently.
Yeah. No, you'll hate Leftwich. I promise you that if he got hired.
I think Josh McDaniels and Josh McCown. I think those are two good names.
No, those are my top twos. The two Josh mix.
And defensively, I feel like it's less important because Vrabel's going to be a hands-on.
Yeah.
Defensive.
Just get continuity with the defensive side of things. I know he wanted Bowen from the Giants, but like the Giants want to keep him. So.
Do they promote him?
They just said we're not going to let him go. They were planning on.
Do they have a choice?
What?
Oh, he is the DC. I didn't know if he was the DC or not.
He would have came to New England if they didn't keep him.
Son of a bitch.
Outside of that, yeah, like you said, the defensive side of things, I'm not really like all that like worried about.
No, we'll see what happens when we get there. We've had two breaking news things on this stream. The Suns made a trade and Drake May got engaged.
Yeah.
You think they'd have that done by now? They've been together for so long.
Yeah.
All right. Let's wrap up 2024, okay?
Season stunk.
Yeah, it was bad. Not a lot of good, but we dig, we find the good, we pull it out. What did you like, if anything, from the 2024 season?
Well, one, I like the fact that we got a real quarterback that's basically validated around the league. Like, everyone recognizes how great Drake May is, how great he's going to become if we do things right. 2, Christian Gonzalez getting second team All-Pro. Well fucking deserved.
Should have been a Pro Bowl, too.
I agree. Unfortunately, that's a popularity contest.
Brian Hoyer said it pretty good. That he just fell victim to being on a bad team without any primetime games.
Yeah. And also the fact that, like, he's not, like, a super flashy stats corner. He's more so, like, I'm just going to lock you down and you're not going to hear my name.
No, there's only 1 or 2 games where I was, like, not awesome. And then everything else, it lights out.
Yeah. And number 3...
Dude, him locking up Marvin Harrison Jr., I was like, yeah. Everybody else got torched, but we didn't let Marvin Harrison Jr. do anything because Christian Gonzalez made sure of that.
That was pretty awesome.
I thought it was pretty cool that Christian Barmore played this year after not thinking he was going to play at all.
Yeah, but then he got
sick again, so he's got to restart from square one. But we saw him play, and he wasn't as good as he was before. But I thought it was encouraging that he still played.
Yeah, for sure. You know what the third one is? I brought it up to you before the show. We had the second best special teams unit in football, so maybe
explain that one away.
So, we had Brendan Schooler, who is
All-Pro,
one of the best special teams gunners in football. We had Behringer, who was quite awesome as a punter, and I mean.
Joey Sly,
Joey Sly existed.
I think he was fairly consistent.
Yeah, I would bring in another kicker personally.
No, for sure. You want to get somebody who's got a little.
I will say it was very frustrating seeing Chad Ryland. turn his
Right?
career around.
Get it together in Arizona.
But I mean, I would get another kicker in there. But all in all, the special teams unit actually graded out quite well as an overall unit. Outside of that, I don't have anything. The team wasn't good.
I liked Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, he showed some. I think he showed reason to be a third down back next year.
Cole Strange didn't suck when he came back. I think he was immediately one of our best linemen when he came back.
Congrats to him for being somewhat decent for a first-round draft pick.
No, finally coming around. And who knows? We might have just been impressed that number one, he never played center before, and he didn't have a ton of bad snaps. And number two, he came back from a goddamn torn meniscus.
It was patellar, which is actually a death sentence for knee injuries.
And he came back. A guy who had knee injuries beforehand, like in college.
Yeah. Oh, and also he didn't look like a total shit, which is for us, yay.
No, right. You have a guy that you might be able to count on playing football next year.
Yeah. Seriously, there was nobody really. I mean, Christian Ellis was an alright def linebacker. I could bring him up.
Yeah. It was him and Joe Giles Harris. I was pumping all preseason. Ellis worked out. Giles Harris never to be seen again.
Yeah. Austin Hooper was a good signing.
Hooper and Henry, both tight ends, very good this year.
Yeah. The rest of the team, you're like, oh, you know what? Kayshon Boutte, I should give flowers to. He actually showed growth and maturity, I would say.
Yeah, no, for sure. He kind of did what we kind of wanted Javon Baker to do this year.
Yeah.
So that was good. It was nice to see him be a real NFL receiver.
The rest of it is just fucking.
I will say we might be skewing Boutte a little bit because he was the guy in the last game. I felt like before that it was always one or two good routes a game, one or two big catches a game, which was more than anybody else did, to be fair. But that might be one where we're trying to pull the oil out the rock.
I will say with Kayshon Boutte is I do think he actually showed growth and maturity though as a person. Because he had
I don't know them on a personal. I didn't follow them on a personal basis. You might be a little bit closer to that than I am. I just kind of watched them on the field.
I saw some quotes from him that showed a lot of growth and maturity. He's actually one of the few mature guys.
That receiver room was awful.
Yeah, just in the general basis of the team, he took a lot of accountability for his play and stuff like that, and just how the team played. I'm that's a far cry from what he was at LSU because LSU got kicked off the team for being a jackass.
And even early on here.
Yeah, and the gambling scandal and shit like that. He had a lot of red flags.
Blessed that he got dropped. That all got dropped.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I would say the development of Drake May, I guess, could also
be. We
talk about Drake. Yeah,
you already said that.
I will say his biggest flaws got fixed. His footwork was terrible, and now he looks.
Alex Van Pelt. Props to him, dude. He made Joe Milton. Coach. He made Joe Milton serviceable in an
Joe
NFL.
Milton's going to get traded for a day 2 draft pick. That's my bold prediction this offseason.
And who would have thought that he would have looked competent on a football field? The guy who couldn't hit the ocean if you threw it out of a boat. Yeah, just incredible development from the quarterbacks. And I want to just shout out Jacoby Brissett's professionalism throughout this entire season.
Yeah. I thought he handled it quite well. He got benched early and, he didn't handle it like a bitch.
Didn't point a ton of fingers. Is there anything else? Grasping for straws.
No.
All right. You want to start ripping into... Okay. The top 4 idiots from 2024. The top 4 people that you cannot stand from this past Patriots season. I'll go first. Actually, I want you to go first.
If Jelani Tavai plays another down for this team, I'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't stand his mentality.
Let me look at his contract. I feel like he got paid.
I think you can just trade him or move off him.
Signed a 3-year deal. It's potential out after this year. $3 million in dead cap. Yeah, do it.
Yeah, trade him or cut him. I don't care. Shit attitude, shit player. He's a Juwan Bentley merchant. Let's just call a spade a
Dude,
fucking
he was awful as soon as Bentley was hurt.
Yeah. He looked like a steal. He actually looked like a steal at first.
I feel like
And then
I think we always forget just how important Juwan Bentley is.
yeah, he's the rock in the middle of the defense, man. Because without him, we're fucked.
We cannot lose both him and Barmore, and we did.
Yeah. Who do you got for your?
My biggest idiot, Jalen Polk.
Polk definitely was up there. Yeah.
Motor mouth, can't get open. On film, looks like he has absolutely no idea what's going on during the play. Just an absolute tool. Absolute tool. The most hated Instagram story. Yeah, I'm got the ninja emoji. I'm so mad and frustrated. Everybody hates me. I can actually good. I have the best hands in the NFL. Y'all just don't know it yet. Fuck this guy.
Yeah, I couldn't stand his rookie year. I wanted him to do well, but like after a certain point, I'm like, dude, you're
gonna have to win me back hard next year.
Into Javon Baker as well. You know, the whole
You want to
shit
just lump
looked
them in rookie receivers?
Yeah, the rookie receivers are both jackasses this year.
Dumb and
Let's
dumber.
call a spade a fucking spade. They were a part of the entitlement problem.
And I think Baker was a little better than Polk was. Like, I didn't hear a lot of Baker talk after.
Well, it's the whole like I fucking make people coming out of wheelchairs.
Yeah, the pre-draft stuff.
You gotta back that shit up.
Like after the preseason ended and like he just wasn't in the field because I assumed that he sucked at practice. I didn't hear much of him, so a lot of me goes to Polk because I heard Polk talking all the time.
Right.
So rookie receivers. That's
Baker
one.
also had the incident at Logan too.
Yeah, that was also. I think that was also preseason.
I think it was like week. It was like very early. Like
okay, it was early. So number one, it's Jelani Tavai, and number two, the rookie receivers. Number three, it's your turn.
Okay.
It can be about performance, and it can be about attitude. You know, just the whole thing.
And I mean this in a loving way because I love him I loved him as a player and all this shit, right? We want him to do well. Gerard Mayo, I wish you the best in your future career. That was the worst coaching performance of any of my favorite teams I think I've ever seen. Which says a lot because I'm a fucking Columbus Blue Jackets fan.
Wait, you're not a big Torts guy?
No, Torts was awesome. It wasn't Torts. It was fucking the last two guys we had before our new coach, who's killing it, by the way.
Gerard Mayo or Bobby Valentine?
I didn't really care that much about the 2012 Red Sox. Like, I didn't watch a whole lot of their games, so I don't.
So are you telling me that you were just blessed with good coaches and Mayo's just at the bottom? He's the lone stooge.
No, I mean John. I wasn't overly that fond about John Farrell after 2013, personally.
Red Sox.
Yeah.
I didn't get into baseball really till like 2018. Like football was like the only sport that I really liked.
I got into baseball. I really got into baseball like 2013-ish.
Good time. Good time to start.
Yeah. Well, watching David Ortiz do David Ortiz shit was pretty cool.
I went to a couple of games Ortiz's last year. That was fun.
Yeah. After that, I made like a yearly mission of mine. I'm like, I had to go see David Ortiz in Toronto. Like, no.
Celtics haven't had bad coaches. Like even Doc Rivers, like you can hate him as much as you want. He didn't suck.
No, I would say like conduct-wise, Ime Udoka. Fuck that guy.
Oh yeah, he wasn't a bad coach. He was just a moron.
Yeah. Yeah, Missoula. I like Joe Missoula a lot. That guy's just a fucking lunatic.
I hate Missoula.
Yeah. See,
I hate the hardo coaches. I'm sorry.
You would love him if he was the Suns head coach. I'm telling you that now.
Oh yeah, he's probably better than Coach Bud. And I'm not anti Coach Bud by any means, but underperforming a little, and the whole team's underperforming.
I think Budenholzer, the problem is I think he's just kind of He reminds me a lot of Jason Garrett. like,
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
he's kind of there.
Yeah, how many bad coaches have you really had in your favorite teams?
Most of the Blue Jackets. like, I'm not
Mike
kidding,
Babcock or
dude.
Rod Mayo? Who was worse?
Mike Babcock is the most unlikable, despicable pile
But
of
he
shit
didn't
ever.
even coach a game.
No,
Mayo got a
because
full year.
he was snooping through players' phones in the fucking meetings, man. Like, I'll tell you this
No,
right now.
instead Mayo was like, "All right, buddy. All right, guys. It's designated phone time. Whip it out."
and the Bruins fans can, they can relate to this as well with like hockey coaches and stuff like that, and just around the hockey talk. It's really hard to get labeled a bad guy in hockey circles, and there's been some bad guys.
We tried
Mike
to sign the
Babcock
list.
is damn near unanimously regarded as a bad guy. Nobody likes this guy around the league.
Is he anywhere right now?
No, and whoever hires this guy should literally be relegated. Like, you don't get to play in the NHL or whatever league you're in. If you're in the American Hockey League, you get demoted to the ECHL. If you're in Europe, you get demoted to whatever second tier you're in for hiring this guy. You're not a serious organization. And I say the same about my Blue Jackets. We should have been relegated last year for that shit.
Yeah, you quickly fixed it. So
Yeah. Well, we have, I think, honestly, one of the front runners for Coach of the Year right now. So, hey.
And obviously in New England, we had Belichick for so long.
Yeah. So it's Rod Mayo. It's the worst coaching performance I've ever seen from an actual yearly performance.
See, I was just wondering, was the bar really that you again? We're young, so we could go back to the '90s and look at Rod Rust for the Patriots.
If you want to look at Rick Pitino Celtics, that was a fucking calamity.
I'm sure there's some Red Sox managers where you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So, all right, that's number 3. Ramondre Stevenson.
He had a bad year.
Fumbles galore. But, actually, I'll take that back. Fuchs Okorafor for quitting on the team.
That was pathetic.
That was bitch made.
I hated that.
Just such a lack of toughness, lack of person.
You know, while we're on the subject of O-lineman, player number 4, Demontre Jacobs.
He sucked.
Way to make Marshall Newhouse look like Jonathan Ogden in comparison.
Dude, I never thought we'd be wishing dude, I'd rather have Marshall Newhouse right now. Dude, I'd rather have 2017 Marcus Cannon right now.
That's 2015 Marcus Cannon. 2017 Marcus Cannon was really good.
I'd rather have Giants Nate Solder.
Yeah. Like that
after Greg Hardy just shredded his bicep in 2015.
Yeah. That level of just calamity.
That whole offensive line is
just title this podcast Calamity and then whatever, I don't know.
Vrabel-amity?
Vrabel-amity, yeah. How Vrabel can save a calamity.
Kyle Duggar's ankle. Fuck his ankle for.
Okay, Kyle Duggar was shit this year too.
He was really, really bad. He was obviously playing injured. So fuck his ankle.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Well, you know what? Speaking of the safeties, can I go back to the promising part of the season? I liked Marte Mapu whenever he actually got playing time.
Except for that stupid
pick he
tried to take out in Buffalo.
Outside of that, though, Marte Mapu was actually really good.
No, yeah, for sure. He showed us a lot more than he did last year, which is all you could really hope for. Because I was like, oh, this guy might suck.
It wasn't good.
Any other idiots from the year that we should just give honorable mentions?
Dietrich Wise making that comment pissed me off.
Yep.
It really burned what was otherwise 7 years of goodwill to me.
Devon Godchow for doing nothing.
Godchow collecting paychecks. Once again, just some players collecting paychecks on this team. Wasn't impressed.
David Andrews' shoulder.
Yeah, David Andrews dying midseason.
That was not fun. That was the one guy we had on that line, and I think that the line wouldn't have been as bad. It would have been bad, but it wouldn't have been that awful without him.
Right.
So screw his shoulder. I hope he comes back and plays another year. I hope he's good. We'll see what happens with that rehab.
Outside that, the whole team stunk. So like,
Right, like we're just listing off like every player on the roster.
all right, which player pissed me off the most? Let's see. Let's run through the lineup.
Let's see. There was that Demario Douglas like bitch fit he threw in like week 3.
Yeah. Now we're just gonna point out single moments. Like, I don't know. It's
One time Drake May got sacked.
Yeah. All right, yeah. Let's point out the Drake May turnovers now. We're gonna rip them apart.
Listen, he had like 6 picks that like weren't his fault.
No, I know it was bad.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that's the 2024 Patriots. You went 4-13. You ended up with the number 4 overall pick, Ryan. We didn't get to talk about this. Are you like up in arms, crazy upset that we won the last game against Buffalo? Do you think there's a big conspiracy at hand that he was fired for winning that game, and Kraft went and told the team, "Don't win this game if you do your jobs on the line." Da, 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 da.
No, I think Kraft made his mind up after the Chargers game.
No, yeah. So I'll give you my take. I'll give you my take first. I'll give you my take first, just so it sets you up. I think it would have been great to have the number 1 overall pick. I am by no means upset, angry, depressed, or anything of the sorts that we won the game and we ended up with number 4.
No, I'm with you on that. I more so lament the result and the fact that I think we could have gotten a massive trade down.
I don't know if it would have been massive, but like obviously having the trade down option would be big.
But at the same time, I think the player who I would have wanted at 4th, or because I changed my mind because I don't know if we're getting Travis Hunter. If we do,
I don't think so either.
Abdul Carter is my guy.
Abdul Carter, mine too. I was about to say 3, 2, 1. Name the prospect that you want.
Abdul Carter is who I want. That guy. We need pass rush. We have the worst pass rush in football. That's another thing we could bitch about. That's a Mike
Vrabel. Yannick being a big nothing burger.
Thanks, Yannick. Did he even get
another team he swindled out of a solid couple $100,000?
Yeah. Get some good cardio going.
We got off easy with the Yannick Ngakoue experience. Some owners are still paying him.
Yeah. We're the cardio kings, man. That's all we are.
You thought Arizona was bad, huh? But yeah, Abdul Carter, I think you need that big time edge presence, and dude, he's a freak.
Yeah. He's like Micah Parsons, but bigger. Like, he's like 6'5", 260, I think.
Big dude.
Or 6'4", 260 or something like that. He's a beast.
Need that. Wouldn't be offended if we took a tackle either. So long as they can play left
trade
tackle.
Down. But we can talk. This would be more of an off-season combo. I prefer a trade down, though. If we're going to take a tackle, I think.
Yeah.
Because my top tackle in the draft isn't Campbell. It's not Banks.
Who's the other guy?
It's Simmons from Ohio State. It's my top tackle.
Yeah, want to show the crowd which hoodie you're wearing? There it is.
Represent the team that's in the Natty.
Yeah.
Yeah, represent local.
I was at Ohio State and Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Go Gophers. They won the Mayo Bowl.
The Mayo Bowl. And this has come from a guy that hates mayo. So
TJ Fleck doused in mayo.
By the way, if you're gonna get mayo, don't get Duke's mayo. Duke's mayo is terrible.
Is it?
I hate it.
I'm not a mayo guy, so
it's repulsive. Like draw it or like no.
At both at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I think we're going to tackle. We have to trade down.
How far?
Let a team jump to get a quarterback. I would try to stay in the top 10 or maybe top 12.
You think there's going to be another quarterback available at 4?
I wouldn't be shocked, and I heard this, is that Jackson Dart from Ole Miss is getting like healed.
The Zach Wilson draft stock rise?
Listen, teams that are desperate for a reason. And it's because they're bad.
You think Jackson Dart could like blow away pro day combine and like just get that Zach Wilson bump?
He's really he's really physically talented. He's going to make like one of those Zach Wilson throws, and everyone's gonna be like, "We need Jackson Dart."
Interesting. Quinn Ewers obviously declared today. Feels like a day 2 guy.
To the CFL draft.
I'm not a Quinn Ewers guy, but I see the appeal. Like I can see a team falling in love with like his brain and his intangibles, but he feels like a Mac Jones.
I was gonna say he's the most Derek Carr pilled quarterback I've ever seen in my life, and I mean Saints Derek Carr.
Ooh,
I'm not.
I got a soft spot in my heart for Raiders Derek Carr.
Raiders Derek Carr is quite solid. This
Very
is
good.
Saints Derek Carr. He's shit. Like
Derek Carr was solid, like QB 12 to like QB 14 his entire tenure with the Vegas Raiders, despite shitbags.
I will say, as my one college football analysis from watching the Ohio State Texas game, it is stunning they did not put in Arch Manning.
Right.
Like,
and I get Sark wants to be loyal to his guy, and want to show his loyalty, but like you cost yourself possibly a national championship by doing what you did.
Arch has legs, man. Like that guy got Cooper's genetics, man. Like that is his kid. He can run.
I'm excited to see his arm.
Yeah, there is going to be some blatantly disgusting tanking going on next year.
You think he's gonna? You don't think it's gonna be? He needs to be one done. I think.
Let's say a team that his uncle played for in the Midwest happened to be a dome team, you know.
Happened to be what
3
about
hours west of me?
What about his other uncle that played in the Northeast? They might need a quarterback.
I think that team is drafting a quarterback this year because apparently they're very enamored with one Shedeur Sanders.
Coach Prime going to Dallas though.
Okay, of the funniest offseason scenario.
Dude, it's gonna be so stupid.
The funniest offseason scenario would be the Cowboys hiring Deion Sanders.
And the Giants taking Shedeur for spite.
The Giants take Shedeur. And not only that, but Shedeur refuses to play for the Giants. And the Giants and the Cowboys do like a DAC for Shedeur Sanders swap or something like that.
And they both end up mid as hell.
Yeah. Giants fans, I'm sorry. I don't know if like Avi or any like Nick or any of them listen to the show. I'm sorry if that happens to you. Just the scenario itself would be very funny.
Dude, Giants fans are in hell right now.
Dude, that team is just a fucking that's a calamity.
We might as well just use them as pawns for absolute hilarity.
Dude, if I'm Elliot Wolf and Mike Vrabel, I'm like, hey, if you can't get Shedeur or anything or Cam Ward, we have this Joe Milton guy. You heard of him?
I sell you to him for pick 65 if you're interested.
Yeah. Oh, what? You're desperate? You're desperate, you say? Malik Neighbors. Huh, that's an interesting guy.
Can you imagine? Joe Milton for Malik Neighbors.
How the Patriots effectively flipped Mac Jones for fucking Malik Neighbors.
Dude, I would take like Wan'Dale Robinson, honestly.
Yeah. What, the 5'8" Jarvis Landry clone?
I like Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah, he's not bad. You see his stat line, man. He had like average like 7 yards a catch, man.
I got him on my fantasy team.
Like, man,
Peter King said he was good, so like he's got to be good.
He was really good at Kentucky.
Dude.
But yeah, no.
I missed the shit posting. I did.
It's been fun, man. Should we get to the NFL?
You want to?
Yeah, we can.
All right, I wrote down some topics if you're interested in getting into those.
I want to hype up another NFC East quarterback quickly, and it's not Jalen Hurts.
Jaden Daniels.
I love Jaden Daniels so much. I love him.
In a redraft, if you had to pick two, would you take Drake May or Jaden Daniels?
As it stands right now, it would have to be Jaden Daniels. But I mean,
I'm not as curious.
Drake's dude. I think this is like a quarterback draft where like I don't know if there's going to be a bad quarterback taken in the first round.
We'll see what happens with JJ, right?
Yeah, it would be JJ that determines it because I think Caleb's gonna be better under a new offensive scheme.
But do you trust the Bears to not screw it up?
No,
That's the
but
problem.
I did bring up Pete Carroll. I think Pete Carroll will be a really great fit.
I think him or Mike McCarthy, solid.
Yeah. Anything that's not the calamity that was Mike. I love the word calamity now. Like, because this sums up a lot of these teams, man. They just make fucking just terrible decisions. Anything that's not Eberflus.
It's gonna be our word now.
Yeah.
Only Patriots fans can say that about other people.
Yeah. Yeah. We set the blueprint for the calamities.
Yes, we did. No other calamity will be as great as our calamity.
Yeah. No one could replicate the Patriots Chargers game of like December.
We had the best calamity. It was calamitous. Everybody told me, Gerard, you were such a great calamity. It was a calamitous effort by all of you, and now we have Mike Vrabel, so suck it.
Yeah.
Want to talk to Minnesota?
We could, yeah. Darnold.
Minnesota obviously collapses in the playoffs. They lose like 27-9 on Monday night.
O-line and Darnold were shit.
Has any quarterback lost so much money in 2 games as Sam Darnold just did?
So I just saw James Palmer of the NFL Network just said that he expects Darnold to still get paid.
Yeah, like 30 instead of 50.
Yeah. With that being said, Sam Darnold, you are a Pittsburgh Steeler.
He did such a Steelers move.
It is. The kings of lateral moves, baby. If you don't love, I think I saw like a title. I think it was by Brett Coleman in his podcast about like the Steelers this season previous. Like, if you don't love me at my 8-9, you don't deserve me at my 9-8.
Say the Steelers don't go 8-9.
Yeah. Like, oh my god, so fucking mid, man. The Steelers
Give me liberty, give me fire, give me 9-8 and a first round exit, or I retire at Mike Tomlin.
That's the Tomlinism, along with the fact that every receiver just hates everybody there. Receivers are just divas.
So that was the next topic. How should the Steelers move forward after yet another disappointing end of the season?
By being as mediocre as possible. I'm being serious. That's their fucking MO.
No, but what would you if you went and bought the Steelers like tomorrow? You, Ryan Moore. What's your first moves?
This would be unpopular amongst the Steelers fans, but I would actually fire Tomlin. Or at least tell him to move, like, we're going to trade him or something.
He's got no trade clause, too, so like it's just like such an awkward thing.
Then you fire him. The problem with the Steelers under Tomlin is we know what they are on a yearly basis now. At what point? Okay, making the playoffs is good. Don't get me wrong.
I miss it.
Yeah, I love being in the playoffs. But if your ceiling is just a wild card and out, what's the fun in that? What's the fun in knowing what your season's result is going to be and not having any optimism despite the fact that you're going to...
There's no fun. There's not a lot of fun of being in the tomato can.
Yeah. So you have to move off Tomlin, and you have to... Steelers and the organization, they pride themselves on like, well, no, we need to be winners and stuff like that. And like, I get it. You don't want to become a calamity. But you do need to actually kind of bottom out a little bit. You need to get an opportunity to add some generational type talents again. You know, you need a franchise quarterback. You had that in Roethlisberger, and how they got Roethlisberger was they used sucking. Yeah, like the Tommy Maddox, Cordell Stewart era Steelers. They were not great. And that doesn't mean like the second you get your quarterback, yeah, you kick it in overdrive. You have to. But they need a quarterback. They're not going to get it by kicking the can down the road. You get Darnold, it's going to be the same shit. I'm telling, like, we're Darnold guys.
We're Sam Darnold guys.
Yeah, we're Sam Darnold guys. Sam Darnold, you get 5 big booms.
Boom, 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 boom. Was that 4 or 5? I don't know.
Yeah, no.
You set me up. I had to finish.
No, I appreciate it. You need to bottom out in Pittsburgh, and also they need to really. and I mean really sort out how they draft and, finding guys in the room that aren't selfish. And you look at their receiving core,
So a change in culture.
they do need a change in culture, yeah.
Vrabel
The
would have been a good
receiving,
fit.
dude, the receivers year after 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 year, super talented, but there's always
Assholes.
something with these
Yeah.
fucking. And I noticed this as well, and I love this guy's account. I loved him when Brady was at the Bucks. He provides it for the Steelers and the Bucks. He's a Steelers fan. He wrote for the Bucks. John Ledyard, who I love his football opinions, he routinely would bring up how the Steelers would bring up on their defense how there was at least one player on that defense that nobody liked.
Mm-hmm.
And they never revealed who it was. There was rumors of Minka Fitzpatrick as the guy. And Minka Fitzpatrick, he oddly got booted out of Miami after 1 year.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
odd, wasn't it? That was
Flores
B-Flow,
didn't like
wasn't it?
him. What?
That was B-Flow, wasn't it?
Yeah, Flores booted him out. Flores didn't like him. Me thinks they look for talent first and then look for character. I think you need to do both. Because like you look at the stalwarts of their defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cam Hayward and TJ Watt. They're both super talented, but they're also good character, good leaders. Like they lack that now, I think. And like those guys are getting old. Hayward and Watt are getting old, man.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
the window is obviously over for a championship, obviously. That ended when Ben retired, ultimately.
Mhm.
And they just never. I'm not in the same brain as you in saying that you have to bottom out, you have to suck to get better. I'm not of that mindset. But I think in the Steelers case, knowing how they operate, they're a very frugal, very conservative kind of franchise. Like they're not going to make the balls to the walls move that the Rams did, which is another way to succeed. They hit on their picks and they're aggressive.
Yeah.
I like that. I want that in my franchise. And the Steelers aren't that. So what's the other course of action is you make one or two hard decisions instead of a bunch and then hope it works out.
You just got to draft and develop, but the problem is you need to actually kind of get some good quality picks because they're teetering in like the 18 to like 22 pick range.
It's hard to find
You'll
really
get a
good
good
players.
player, like you'll get like a good player there, but you're never gonna get your quarterback there.
Nope, you're gonna have to
Not
trade up
nowadays. And you're not. Listen, every team can year after year try to convince themselves, hey, this mid-round quarterback, maybe he's the next Tom Brady. No, you're not. You're not getting the
A
anomalies.
mid-round quarterback hits like once every 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
And like the hit, like Tom Brady aside,
Kirk
Brock
Cousins.
Purdy.
Well,
Fine.
Kirk Cousins too.
Kirk. Fine. All fine players. And fine is not a disrespectful term. Fine player. Very fine player. You can win games with that player. You trust in Brock Purdy to sign a $50 million contract and keep you in Super Bowl contention?
They're not dynastic pieces. Yeah, I think Pittsburgh's in one of the worst spots in professional sports right now.
Like if you had like Kirk Cousins in his prime on a rookie contract, you can win a Super Bowl with that. Just like the Niners almost won a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy with all of his super weapons on a rookie contract. Mm-hmm. Can't do it once it's time to hit payday.
No, I agree.
So we'll see. We combined two topics there. That was sick. How real are the Washington Commanders as they head into Detroit this weekend?
So it's going to be the biggest challenge, obviously, right? I will say this, man. Jaden Daniels is astonishingly clutch. Like, you put the ball... It's weird to me, like, and this is why I'm so excited about him. He's one of those guys where he feels like you put the ball in his hands in the fourth quarter, and it's like you got a chance with this guy taking command of your team. I think the Lions should actually be on upset alert because if the game is in reach for the Commanders. Like Detroit doesn't blow them out of the water right away offensively, right? Having Jaden Daniels have the ball in his hands, he's going to put immense pressure on you, which is the ultimate praise that could pay to a rookie, man. Like I think this guy is a super special fucking player, and it's going to be really interesting to see how the Commanders move on, like past the season. Now we're not there yet. Like they still got playoff games to play, but like they could really build something special here under Jaden Daniels' rookie contract, in my opinion.
No, for sure. The Commanders are there. They progress way faster than I thought they would, with not a ton of talent. I think the Lions will win. I'm fairly confident in that take, but this game should be frisky.
I think the Lions get off to a hot start. It would take a mountain to climb. If it stays close, I honestly might take the Commanders.
I couldn't blame you. All right, a couple more topics. Thoughts on Justin Herbert in yet another disastrous playoff performance? Is he a playoff choker, or is this year one of a retool, new head coach? Let's see it with talent.
Okay, well,
I think the Twitterverse is being very reactionary towards Justin Herbert.
I think two things can be true. Herbert choked, and also his weapons are not good. Like, there were some reads. I think Herbert was pressing a little too hard on a lot of reads and stuff like that. At the same time, you can't go into the season with Quentin Johnson as your receiver too. You can't go into the season with why am I blanking on the tight end's name? I had him on our fucking Disley. I had him on our fantasy league. He was terrible.
J.K. Dobbins hurt most of the year.
Yeah, and Dobbins has been electric when he's played, but even then they went away from Dobbins in the playoff game. I think the Chargers just kind of shit the bed, and like their personnel got exposed. And the Texans
and I think they'll get better because Jim Harbaugh is an awesome coach.
He is, and it wouldn't shock me if the Chargers do two things in the offseason. One, pay T. Higgins a shitload of money, and two, get Tyler Warren from Penn State, the best tight end in the draft.
I love him.
He's a fucking freak, man.
Penn State, man. Talent.
Yeah. That's my guess.
I think Justin Herbert still comfortably in my top 6 quarterbacks in the league.
No, I'm with you. I think he's catching a little too much shit, but I do think some of the shit is warranted.
Hey, you choked in 2 playoff games. I mean, that's something to watch, but I'm like, pump the brakes here. Like, he's still a very good quarterback. I'm still taking him over most quarterbacks in the league. And we'll see what happens here, too. If this keeps happening, then we can say, oh, look, he's still Rivers. But I'm not there yet.
Yeah, like, well, I need like at least a 5 or 6.
He's not blowing it with LaDainian Tomlinson in the backfield, all right?
Yeah. I need a bigger sample size.
All right, this one you should love. This should make some move in your pants. How much is Tom Brady impacting the Raiders?
Let's be real, he's the shadow GM there. I will say, and you know me, everyone knows me, I love Brady. I don't think he should be commentator.
What?
Hold up. Shut up. I don't think he should be commentator and also be a shadow GM of an NFL team.
Oh, that's shady as hell, isn't it?
Yeah. I am with the people on that one. I think Brady's going to have to pick one or the other.
And he shouldn't pick TV.
No, be an honor.
I think he's honestly,
Brady is a GM would rock so hard. I actually want to see it.
Like, make it, dude, give him the Elway thing, president of football ops.
Yeah. That's basically what he is. Like he's basically going to be the reason why I think Ben Johnson's going to be a Raider.
That's the whole thing. That's why I wrote this topic, because Ben Johnson wasn't even considering this job up until Brady gave him the sell.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about how much more input he'll have and just how things kind of shake out there. I think that could be something to watch. And we got a new storyline to follow. How good are the Raiders with Brady? How's UNC with Bill? I don't care. And then how do we do with Vrabel in our second run? All the Patriots, the Patriots trio are all doing different things.
All right. Some team needs to hire Matt Patricia as their head coach in the NFL. Jets, do it.
You say that, and then he's going to be our next offensive coordinator.
Listen, I've been sober since the New Year's has started. Don't get me back on that fucking wagon, New England. Don't.
All right. Last topic before we close off. Update on the NFL coaching / GM searches. Anything sticking out to you?
Yeah, Deion Sanders is actually, I think he's going to be the head coach of the fucking Cowboys, and that's going to be hilarious.
Really?
Dude, I just got a notification, from Bleacher Reports, saying that Schefter said that it's progressing, actually. There's very serious mutual interest there. And let's be real, Jerry Jones, he likes making his splashes.
That would be a splash.
It would be. And
he'd have to pay CU $8 million, I believe, to
that's nothing to Jerry Jones.
Yeah, no, it's nothing, but I feel like it's something just to note.
Yeah.
I think Aaron Glenn to the Jets.
I always heard Saints. I think the Saints are.
I thought it was the Saints too. And I think it should be the Saints because the Jets are just a disaster franchise. But Aaron Glenn with the Jets would scare me a little.
It would be a big hire.
It would scare me a little. I hope that something changes. Brick Johnson looks at him. Daddy, I can't find it in Madden.
Dad, his playbook in Madden is a 4-3 under. We're 3-4 over. Dad.
Anything? What else is going on in the coaching searches? Jacksonville. I don't really care who they hire.
I think it's Liam Cohen. That appears to be a favorite there.
I think Mike McCarthy should go to Chicago.
I said Pete Carroll. I think
one of the two. But I think Mike McCarthy should land right back into another head coaching shot.
McCarthy's a weird figure because I don't think he's as bad as people make him out to be.
He's boring. He's middle tier, but he's good. The Jets should be in love with something like Mike McCarthy, just the steady things.
No. Bring back Rex Ryan, please.
I want it so bad.
Rex Ryan versus Mike Vrabel twice a year. Tell me you wouldn't sign up for that.
Vrabel would kick his ass up and down the field.
Yeah. And Vrabel's petty enough you do that Rex Ryan bullshit. Remember that Brady call or whatever? He's like, Rex Ryan.
Yeah, I remember that. 2015, Monday Night Football, Buffalo.
Yeah.
Inadvertent whistle that took away a Danny Amendola touchdown. Anybody else need catches that even remotely interesting? Not really.
No.
Raiders. Ben Johnson. That feels
we said Ben Johnson.
Feels like the move. All right.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah. Hour 48. Good show. Ryan, any fine words to say to the people at home before we close this one out?
I would say, after dealing with illness past couple weeks and the fact that we're getting more of them, fucking, be precautionary right now. A lot of people are getting really fucking sick. Don't be an idiot like I was and tried to work and shit while I was sick. It didn't help. Outside of that, I'm really fucking thrilled for Vrabel and all that. I think it's going to be a really fun era, and I'm really excited to run back this show.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Go.
All right. This has been the Foxboro Beat.
You know what? For my city, baby. Buckeyes winning it all on Monday.
I think so, too. All right, everybody. That's the show. Mike Vrabel hired. Ryan's back. Good vibes over here on the Foxboro BeatCast.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you follow the page on Facebook. And I feel really good about saying this for once. Go Patriots.
Go Pats, baby.
We'll see you all next week. We'll go through the rest of the playoffs, and then when the Super Bowl's over, we might talk about scheduling and whatnot. We might push it to bi-weekly because there's not going to be anything to talk about.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But you guys got us for another 2, 3, 4 weeks. So get ready. It's going to be fun. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Foxboro BeatCast. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Instagram.